evening, everyone. You're here for Skills Sorted. We're here for the third week. So I'm just waiting for Lucy Bronze to join me. If you've not joined before, I'm Rebecca from the Gatorade Sports Science Institute. So just waiting for Lucy to join. I think she's joined now.
Hello.
How are you?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. Congrats for the weekend, another good win.
Yeah, I know it's funny because, well, yeah. First, we'll introduce quickly Skills
Yeah,
Sorted
sure. Sorry.
with Gatorade, just because it kind of links into what we're going to speak about anyway. Because obviously we've already spoken. Was hydrate fuel was the first week, then hydration was last week, and then this week is recovery. And obviously, and then we got next week with menstrual cycles. But yeah, it's funny this week's recovery because say well done on a game, whereas I've just come off the back of playing 3 games every single week for like the past couple of weeks. Got
Oh,
another
wow.
game in 2 days, and then another game next week, the weekend and stuff. So it's quite ironic that we're talking about recovery, and I'm
A
the one
good
that probably I'm the one that needs the most help right now. But yeah,
we can
and recovery is funny because we had a meeting
talk
this morning at the club, and it was about how important recovery is to keep your levels of performance up when it's like a lot of games like we've got at the moment, and then equally what it's like in tournament. So we've obviously got the Euros this summer as well. So yeah, recovery is obviously going to be a key aspect of every team's kind of setup and stuff. So we're going to talk a bit through about the science, but I'll leave that bit to you.
I feel like you're also understanding the science and you'll be able to do it one day as well.
Yeah, I know a little bit, but you're the expert, and I'll give the bits on how it kind of comes into action and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, like from a nutrition point of view, there's like 3 main things that you need to really think about when you recover so that you can keep going again, like you say, in a tournament setting or when you've had like loads of games one after the other. So the first one is replacing the carbohydrate stores which are in your muscles, because when you play a game those stores reduce, so you need to make sure that you're replenishing them so that you can go again for your next training session or your match. And the other one is replacing your fluid losses. So we spoke a bit about that last week, but when you play or train, you sweat loads and you lose fluid. So you need to make sure that you can go again. And then the third one is recovering from like the muscle damage that might have occurred. And so make sure that you're getting some protein so that it rebuilds that muscle damage. And like studies have shown that it can take up to 72 hours for your like body to be fully recovered, to be able to go again. But sometimes you need to train in between those 72 hours. So you're constantly recovering and making sure that you're playing at your best.
So basically, recovery is a mixture of kind of like the 2 previous things that we've spoken about, and then a little bit extra on top of that.
Yeah, exactly that. So we talked a bit about carbohydrate before. So you could use one of the calculations that we've said. So like multiplying 2.5 grams of carbohydrate by your body weight, and that will give you a good idea of like the amount of carbohydrate that you need to consume. With your fluids, then again, you need to make sure that you're ingesting some kind of fluid. And like Gatorade, something like a sports drink can be really good because it has like the electrolytes, it has the carbohydrate, and it has the fluid to replenish. And then also get in some protein. So good sources of protein are like beans and lentils, or like chicken or yogurt. Like all of those things are really good for a good source of protein.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because obviously we spoke about hydration, and the fueling as well from hydration, and especially with this being Gatorade. But actually, we get given like a Gatorade sport drink after a game now as well because of the carbohydrates. And I think people always think, oh, like you have a protein shake after a game, but actually you need to rebuild up all the stores, where not just protein, like it's carbs as well, it's the fluid as well.
Definitely. And it can get like, it's like a quick source of carbohydrate as well. So it starts that recovery process straight away. If you don't have access to protein like immediately, or you can't have a meal straight away, then having a drink is like a good way to start that recovery process.
Yeah, definitely. And there's like so many other aspects to recovery as well, not just kind of what you consume.
Yeah, I know that in the episode that's going to come out later, you do some like stretching sessions with Ella. So I know that's an important part of your recovery. So do you want to talk a bit about that?
Yeah, well, it's funny because obviously I'm a little bit older now, but I remember being told when I was younger. I think someone like I think like Karen Carney maybe said there's a lot of older players who are like, oh, when you get older, trust me, you're going to wish you did more stuff when you was younger. The stretching sessions, I think there's a lot around yoga. I see a lot in like, I think like Zlatan and people like that talk about yoga and stretching and how it's kept their bodies going for so much longer. So I do try my best to kind of do these little stretching sessions every so often, because obviously when you're playing or you train and like your muscles tighten up, and I just find it's a good way to kind of relax your body, stretch your body out, especially because you can pick up little niggly injuries if you don't stretch properly. You can tear muscles and things like that, which is all part of your recovery. Chances are you've probably not recovered properly if you're getting yourself injured later on. So yeah, the stretching session that I do with Ella is something that I actually do myself. I also like going on the bike. I like going swimming. I know a lot of the girls at England hate when we get told we're going in the pool, but I absolutely love it. So I just think it's a nice way to relax. And obviously with football especially, it's such an impact sport that like you think every time you stop and like your knees and your ankles and everything's having all that force go through it. So yeah, for me, things where I can get off my feet a little bit, save my knees a little bit, like swimming, like stretching, like biking, and just get that blood flow to kind of wash things through my body a bit more.
And all of those things like take the impact off your joints. So you're saying like football's such a high impact sport. So doing something like swimming really takes that impact, and stretching takes that impact off your bones and your muscles.
I think the thing as well, like I love bike, and I have like a bike at home. I bike to training sometimes, and swimming as well. But the thing with stretching is you can just do it anywhere. It's one of them things that like anybody can do it. There's obviously all different like levels to it. So if you like say I'm someone who's really flexible with my hamstrings, but not with my glutes, so I can easily touch the floor, like touch my toes when you bend over. But you ask me to do a glute stretch, I'm awful at it. So it's like you can just find different ways and different levels to push yourself. So yeah.
How many times a week do you make sure that you do your stretching?
I'm supposed to probably do it more than I do, I'll be honest. Yeah, but I think because we do a lot of recovery sessions at club, I try to do it after each game. And we're kind of like, say today we were set like a kind of a schedule of things to do. So you come in and you have a stretching session, you have a foam rolling session, you have to get in the ice bath, which everybody hates the ice bath as well.
It never sounds nice.
Yeah. Like physio, you get physio, you can get a massage and things like that. Acupuncture. There's so many different things that can just gain you that extra 2% or 1% in recovery.
Yeah, and you need it when you need to, play again in a couple of days' time. So it's super important. And what about sleep? Like, how important do you find like your sleep? Like, does it affect your recovery? Because sleep's really important for like the recovery process, to getting a good night's sleep after.
Yeah, so again, sleep is an interesting one because I've spoke to like a sleep guru. He's called Luke. I can't remember his second name now, but he works a lot with, say like with England, we worked a lot with him, and I actually have a really unusual sleeping pattern. But I think the thing that he's always said is like you have to find your own way of sleeping. Some of the girls I play football with, they could sleep for 12 hours.
Wow.
I sleep for 6 hours, but like I can function just as well as someone who's 12 hours. And I think he was very much adamant that it's not important like how much length you have, it's how much quality of sleep you have. So there's no point in sitting in your bed and tossing and turning thinking, oh, I need to be asleep by 11 o'clock, otherwise I'm not going to have my 9 hours sleep.
Yeah.
And all you're doing is irritating yourself. He was like, you're better off waiting until you're tired, go to bed, sleep properly, have a nice deep sleep, and your body is more likely to be refreshed. And sometimes it can be a little bit psychological, the whole sleeping process.
Good quality sleep. We've had some questions come in, Lucy. One of the ones that has come in for you is, how does your recovery routine change when you have less recovery days in between games?
I think recovery becomes more important when you have less time. Like you said, it takes 72 hours for you to really recover properly. And sometimes we're not getting 72 hours. We might only have 48 hours in between, especially in tournaments. So yeah, I think the recovery protocols that you do, like everything from sleep, what you eat, what you drink, stretching, swimming, your bike, on a normal like Sunday to Sunday game, you probably don't do all of them because you just kind of get through the things that you can and you enjoy. But then when you have time and stuff like that, and then you go into training and things, whereas when it's the short kind of pre-game or 2 days or 3 day in between games, then you pretty much have to do everything. You have to do as much as possible in every window possible. And it's also quite tiring doing a lot of recovery, but it works out in the end. And obviously, eventually, you will find your time where you gain that time back. But yeah, it's super important, and that's literally what we've been told this morning at club is how important recovery is.
It can be tiring. Know how important it is for you.
And it's funny because it's going to be tiring to do recovery, but it actually makes you less tired in the long run.
Yeah.
But I guess that's like training, isn't it? It's like how hard you run in training is how fit you're going to be in the long run.
Yeah, it's all about thinking about that long-term like plan and what you're trying to achieve. I also wonder whether sometimes recovery just helps you like switch off a bit mentally as well. And so going back to your stretching, like how long do you stretch for after like a match or the next day?
Sometimes it can be maybe 10 minutes. Sometimes it can be potentially up to 30 minutes. Again, there's another things that I've done with England previously, which is like a meditated kind of yoga as well. So you do yoga and there's like that relaxing music to kind of switch off your brain a little bit, or someone talking about being on the beach and feel the sand between your toes and that kind of thing. Or even we've done yoga inside like a hot tent.
Yeah.
So it's like a hot yoga, which you have to make sure you keep yourself very hydrated, but it just helps you relax a little bit more, which, like you said, like your mental relaxation is just important to recovery as anything else.
Yeah, I guess that the heat will probably ease your muscles, but you're right, you can sweat loads doing that hot yoga. So you need
probably not a good idea to do when you've only got a couple of days between games.
That's true. And actually someone asked the question about like how quickly should you start the recovery process, and I think from like a nutrition point of view you can start straight away. Like as soon as you finish your like match, your training, like the next thing you're thinking of is like, okay, I need to get my nutrition right to start recovering so that I'm able to train just as well the following day. So is that how you see it? Do you see like the recovery starts immediately?
Yeah, literally, like, say, yesterday in the game, I came off for the last few minutes. As soon as I sat down, I was handed, like 3 different drinks. I had ice all over my knees and my legs. I waited for the game to finish. As soon as the game was finished, I went straight inside, had an ice bath. Again, had caught on my seat, and there was like a banana, another drink.
Wow.
Had my shower, come inside, there's more food, more drinks. So I think it starts the minute the whistle stops. That's when, especially when in a team environment and we have such great staff, like at England, it's the same. As soon as the whistle blows, there's someone running at you with like a drink or something that you need to quickly get in your body to start that recovery process.
And you've talked a lot about like different kinds of recovery that you do, like the ice baths and being on the bike. But what's your like one favorite part of like recovery that you like to do?
Easily massage.
Oh yeah.
That's probably everybody's. It's the one where the physios are like, just go and do some other recovery, and I'm like, yeah, but they're like, yeah, but massage isn't always the best one, and I'm like, I know, but it's the one that I like the most. It's the most relaxing for me, but I know it's actually not the. It's like, I think a lot of people think, oh, have a massage and make your body feel better, but actually scientifically, it's actually not like the most probably productive recovery process.
Maybe you like it because you don't have to do anything. You
Yeah,
can just
I do, but I guess things that I can do myself, I do really like swimming, jacuzzi, ice bath, all those kind of things together. And I know, again, like the jacuzzi, I know you can sweat a lot, but as long as you keep them hydrated. But the thing with the jacuzzi is like getting the jets like on my calves and stuff like that is kind of like a little massage on your own. So yeah, like I absolutely love swimming. Even not even just like swimming, just like walking around in the pool and stuff like
the
that.
water.
It's just, yeah, I think again, as I've got older, it just kind of soothes my body not to have to like walk and run around anywhere, and just be off my feet properly, whilst being able to still recover properly. So probably, yeah, swimming. I actually really enjoy ice baths, although other people
No,
absolutely
really.
despise them. Yeah, I mean, if you work really hard and it's like, I mean, not when it's freezing outside, but when you've worked really hard, say in a tournament, and it's hot and your legs are throbbing and they're aching, I'm thinking at the end of the game, I can't wait to sit in this
Yeah.
ice bath and my legs to just cool down.
Oh,
It's like it's like a relief, like to not feel the throbbing of your calves and the cramp coming and things like that.
well, thank you so much for sharing your insight. I think we're near time, but maybe you could just end by giving like your one top tip for recovery, and then I'll hand it over to you to wrap up as well.
I think for recovery, it's finding what works for you. Like I said, I love swimming, and it really helps me. I know some of the girls that I play with don't enjoy swimming, and then they don't feel the benefits. I think the best thing to do is to try as many things as possible, whether that's taking extra naps, there's compression garments that you can wear, ice, bike, what you eat, what you drink.
So yeah, don't forget your nutrition.
Yeah, like, but even then, like, some people don't like certain flavors of things. Like, find the flavors that you enjoy having. If you don't if you don't feel like you can eat food straight away, try it in a fluid form. If you do think you can eat, find a way of, I don't know, taking it to a game with you. If there's a certain food that you like, I think it's so important to find what works for you best. Like, we're all individual at the end of the day, and you have to find your individual process. And then it becomes just a natural habit. If you have your process, then that's just something that you just will constantly do. And then it becomes easier because you don't even have to think about it, like having a massage.
Some great tips. Thank you so much.
But yeah, I think that's all from this week. We've got one more episode to come next week. Thanks again so much for your time and your advice and all the info, all the sciencey bits, whilst I talk about swimming and massage. Thank you everybody for watching. Don't forget to follow WePlayStrong. Head over to WePlayStrong YouTube channel and we can see the latest episode where my stretching session with Ella will be on this week, and we'll watch Ella doing her recovery. And then next week we've got the last of the episodes, sadly. But yeah, hopefully it'll be a good one, and we'll catch everybody same time, same place next week.
Thanks, Lucy.
No problem.
Take care.
Bye.
See ya.